for those of you who haven't used Cengage and Mindtap, I'm just going to show you quickly. My school uses the New Perspectives collection for Microsoft Office, and that's the newest version of this book. When you get the collection, you get everything. There's like so much that comes with it. So we actually organize ours by computer apps, and we pull out what we're going to use and put them in our own folders, and then hide all the rest of it. But for instance, they have a Technology for Success section, and there's a pre-assessment if you were actually going to have students go through all of it, and a post-assessment. This is a ton of stuff though. So, and then you can go in here and look. There's readings that they can do. And when you click on them, they'll open. These types of things are going to work on Chromebooks because, you know, they're basically ebooks, and they'll have definitions for vocabulary words as they go, stuff like that. And then sometimes they'll have, like, it says review activities. They're review questions. We don't use this part, but like it shows you the questions here. I don't see a place to take this quiz or anything, but those are your review questions, so they could look them up. And then after the review, for instance, is the exam over that section. And again, all these types of things would be able to be taken within a Chromebook interface. It pops up, and then you can see the tasks. With anything in Cengage, though, you can go through and make your own. We actually don't use the built-in tests. We make our own because we don't want them to necessarily be as long as theirs, or we might want to add different types of questions. But anyway, that's an example of some of the stuff that you get. So they have the whole technology, they have a whole operating systems here that gets into Windows and file management and security and stuff like that. And then you've got access to so much content when it comes to Microsoft Office. Now the projects that are graded for you, you wouldn't be able to do on Chromebooks because that requires actual Microsoft Office, but they could still access the textbook itself, which we've moved to our folder. But like all of these projects, these are things where students download a file, complete an activity, and then upload it, and it grades it. So like that would require an actual computer, but this is what I really like Cengage for. You download the instructions, they open them, follow them, they download the starting file, they do the things to it, they upload it, and then it gives them a score and a report that they can download that tells them what's wrong, and they can go fix it. So that's what I like about that, and that's the real world part of this that I like. There's lots of projects that go with each chapter. But as far as things that can be done on a Chromebook, you can access the book on a Chromebook. So like you can click on it, and then it'll take you to a table of contents, and you can say, how do we create a bulleted list? And it'll take you here, and it would tell you the steps for doing that. Now, it's telling you that in the context of creating one, but it does have pictures, so you wouldn't necessarily be creating it if you were just reading through a book, but if they needed the steps, they could get to it from the textbook. So each chapter's in the textbook, and then there's all the projects they would do that go along with that one. And then we put all our trainings and reviews in a folder, and I'm setting up next year, so those aren't in there yet. But eventually when those are created, for advanced computer apps I have, then they have a training, and you can create the test, and when you create the test, you check a box so that you can create a training based on the test. So that's what these trainings are. They're simulations. Here's what they look like if you're comparing it to something else. This is Access, but so it's all a simulation. I'm not actually in Access. In the training, which is what we used during closure in the class, it has a list of all the tasks that they need to know how to do. And then there's an observe, so you can like click a button and watch a video.
It is likely that you will want to add
and it'll tell you how to do
database
everything.
At some point. You can use table data sheet
And then
to add the fields you want.
there's a practice where they walk through it. And notice it is reading that out loud. I don't know if you can hear it.
The Create tab.
Anyway, and then for them to get credit for the task, they read the task instructions, and under the apply, they do the specific thing. So, you know, I'd create a new table in data sheet view, and then you'd add all the stuff in here, and then it would mark it correct. But anyway, that's basically how the training works. So this training is basically lined up with this exam. So we created this exam, and it shot out this training based on the performance-based tasks of the exam. We also add about 15 multiple choice questions to our exam as well to encourage the use of vocabulary and all that stuff. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Oh, under career readiness, they have a whole section on Microsoft Office Specialist resources, and there is a ton of stuff in here broken down by levels. Now, they're not, I wish they had practices, but like here's Moss Skills Training Manage Documents for Word 2019 Associate. So you can go into this one, hit Start, and then basically it's the same as that other, observe, practice, apply. And so it would have them to do the various things all as a practice for all those Moss things. And so there's one broken down for every single one of the categories. So manage documents, insert format. So these are aligned with Moss. So you've got a ton of these. I mean, this is the ones for the Word Associate one, and these are all pretty long. And then they have practice exams. So you can go to the practice exam, and they can take a practice exam that will look a little more like the actual Moss exam. It looks a little different at the bottom of the screen if you've taken those before, so that it kind of mimics more what they would see. You know, you work part-time, and you're doing these things. And so, yeah, so I hit OK, get out of here. But you've got all of those Moss things in there. So again, if it says training, those are those practices. And then it even has like an exam that goes along with that training. So they can go back through and practice all this. And so this is built into the Cengage, at least the book we have, the Cengage Mindtap book. Okay, so I don't want to talk any longer, but if you have questions, let me know. Obviously, I don't work for Cengage or anything, but we've been using their resources for lots of years.